Right then. Okay, we're on record now, Fran. So yeah, let's get cracking. So title obviously is becoming magnetic and attracting your followers. So I really resonate with this word magnetic. We were saying earlier on Google Hangouts yourself, Fran. It's a great word. So yeah, so how over the last 3-4 months, say, Fran, how would you say you've attracted your followers?
Probably with a little bit of help from you there, Damien. Okay, so hi to everyone who's come into the blab. So for anybody who doesn't know, I connected with Damien Nelson about 6 months ago, Damien? I don't know.
Probably so, yeah. It's been a while now, hasn't it? Yeah.
Wow. And up to that point, I had a Twitter account, and I've got to be honest, I wasn't online much. I had Twitter, I had Facebook. I used Facebook probably more than anything else. But I was on Twitter and I wasn't really using it to interact with people. I was just using it to kind of promote what we did. So I was going on there occasionally. I head up a business centre. I work for Leeds Beckett University, and we run networking events and things like that. So I was popping on there just to mention about networking events, but really not using it to interact. And then we met up about 6 months ago, something like that. And Damien was saying, how, are you interacting with people on Twitter? I really wasn't at that point. And he was just saying about how important it is just to engage with people, to how that helps with your following. And also mentioning about having a Twitter hashtag hour to try and engage with our clients and get them talking to each other. Our clients are all based at different locations, different buildings. So really, apart from networking events, they don't get to meet each other that often. And he was just saying, well, if you had your own Twitter hashtag hour, that might be a great place where they can engage and talk to one another. And that the other benefit really of Twitter hashtag hours is that they increase your following as well. So since then, I've set up my Friday Twitter hashtag hour, hashtag Enterprise Hub Chat. And that's every Friday, 12 till 1. And we get quite a lot of good interaction, don't we? And Damien's kind of come in on that, really. Probably because you were there at the start and suggested you've kind of almost kind of co-hosted that, really. And it's been really good for just increasing my following. I had about just over 400 followers when I first spoke to Damien, but I'm now up to about 1,600. So that's really good, isn't it, really, over 6 months?
Definitely, yeah, definitely. And it's I didn't realize how well it would do. I mean, I'm just there to kind of suggest things to people that I know, obviously customers, and help grow their online presence. So to see how well it goes every week is really good. How you interact with people as well is a good thing, really, and especially within that kind of space. Online, it can be quite noisy online at times. Well, a lot of times nowadays. So you kind of need to get people in that kind of niche area and say, look, you're going to be online at this time. I mean, I do know of hashtag hours where people actually, put the question in there and ask questions as well, just to try and get more interaction and more research into people that are actually on their hours as well, and see what you can help them with, really.
That's really good, definitely. I mean, what other sort of Twitter hashtag hours did you want to mention when you're on here as well? Because I know that you host one as well, don't you?
Yeah, it's just on a Monday, really. It's hashtag 11's hour, and I've been thinking actually this week of maybe getting them more involved, and actually I've seen quite a few this week that have done hashtag hours, but over here on Blab. So that might be something that you could test out as well, maybe on a Friday, just to try and get people, especially if, your hours like on a lunch time. So, surely we could try and get some people interacting on the lunch rather than just eating the sandwich and watching the time go by. You could get them interacting more within an hour or something, or half an hour at least. It's almost like the way you were promoting a bit of the hashtag hour on Periscope as well. So it's kind of the next level. And people, sorry.
Good idea is that, and it'd be good to get the clients engaged in that, wouldn't it, really?
Yeah, definitely. Because especially on Twitter, you don't see, you see people's profile pictures, but you don't actually hear them talk or any, you need that further interaction, I think. And that's where obviously replying via video on Twitter works really well, as we both know, Fran.
That's a good That's a really cool point, actually. In fact, Damien, I'm just gonna go to some of the comments now, if that's all right.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, because sorry, I was just going to say that. I mean, I was thinking the same thing, and then Ed mentioned it in the comments that a Facebook group, I believe, he was saying that that's a good way as well of almost having. Let me just have a quick look what he put. It's hard to scroll on here now because I got rid of the scroll bar, but let's see if I can get in there. Yeah, so Ed's mentioning a group on Facebook, which is quite good as well, to get people more interacting as well. But I mentioned that to your friend just last week, I think, didn't I? But
yes, I need to learn a bit more about those, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm just I can't scroll. I can't scroll up. Sorry, Ed. Do you want to just pop in your first suggestion again in there? Can you scroll up, Fran?
Will do. 1 second. This is all learned for me as well. Cool. Oops. We've got quite a few comments on here. I like the fact that Cara said that she's got us both blabbing in her ear while she's working.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. Thank you, Cara, for that tip.
Right. Our connection keeps going a bit poor as well.
Your connection's a bit rough.
Benny's mentioned Ed's mentioned, yeah. I don't know why. Sorry about that. Specifically a group, not a page. Just a second. Sorry, I'm losing it now. Right. I got a link to. Oh, sorry, I've lost it. Hang on 1 sec.
It's all right. Would you like to come in, Ed, and let us know about your group? That'd be awesome if you wanted to join us.
Just 1 moment.
Bringing Ed in.
Hello.
Hi, Ed.
Good, thank you. How are you? This is going to be a quick one because otherwise I'll be here for hours and getting nothing else done.
Yeah, we seem to do that, don't we, on Blab?
But I was just going to say about the Facebook group. So I posted a link on there. So apologies if that was a bit too pitchy.
No, that's cool.
But it's the idea is that so it was based around the book that there are businesses that are coming together to help each other. A lot of businesses work from home, self-employed, work for themselves, and this is a great way of the idea of the group, rather than a hashtag, which is usually a specific hour, and obviously that's not, which is great, and they're very successful, but that does have limitations around flexibility. So a group allows it to for people to post questions around answers, and the answers are, well, if you buy my stuff, I'll help you. The answers are, you should try this CRM tool, or have you tried recruiting through this particular channel? Some really good kind of Q&A stuff that people are, of course, sharing their knowledge and sharing their skills. But it seems to, and I must admit, when I set this up, I set up a LinkedIn group and a Facebook group and a Google Plus community, just for a laugh. And I expected the LinkedIn group to be more successful than the Facebook one was, but it wasn't at all. The Facebook one almost instantly died. Sorry, the LinkedIn one almost died. The Facebook group has grown brilliantly, and there's some fantastic kind of stuff being learnt on there and shared, and beautifully without a sales pitch in sight.
Are you all right there, Damien?
You've gone quiet. Hello, Fran. How are you doing?
Have you lost? Hi, Ed. How are you doing? You're all right.
Thank you.
He's lost his mic.
I know we've got. It's like since I jumped in, Damien's gone all silent. Oh no.
I'm sure there's.
I'm sure there isn't, but
So you were talking about Facebook pages, and I'm so sorry I missed some of that conversation, I'm afraid, because I was just having a little bit.
No, that's what I was saying is that the Twitter hashtags that you and Damien were talking about are great, but of course they require you to be online during that specific hour, which obviously is a bit of a challenge. Yeah. It allows people to kind of come back to, but it's not always a deal. So I guess in addition to that, Facebook group can be really can be quite successful too. So and I say to Damien, I'm saying this because I run a Facebook group where businesses come together, support each other, and offer and ask and offer support. And there isn't a sales pitch. There's about 300 odd members. And the group is so much more interactive than a page, which is more, as much as you can ask for engagement, it's very much controlled by the person who's running it. Whereas the group is run by pretty much everyone who's part of that group. It's a successful platform. And if you haven't tried it, Fran, and you said yourself that you prefer Facebook, it's worth giving it a go.
Yeah. Need to get onto that, definitely. I think that's a really good idea. I do head up a page, but I haven't really got into groups and I haven't really been joining them so much. And oh gosh, I'm so sorry, I've just pressed something again. It's because I'm on the iPad. Bear with me.
Damien, are you back? Can we hear you?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I turned my sound off just because my little boy's shouting me. But so obviously it's half term. But the groups I think are really good because basically the notifications that you get from group, you get to find out exactly what's going on in the group, where on a Facebook page you're not necessarily going to see everything that's posted up there.
Totally, absolutely. It's as I said, it's great. And what I also like about the groups is that the conversation that's taking place, or the last comment, always moves that conversation to the top of the page, so you're not having to kind of scroll down and find it. So it's worth it.
Do you encourage people to ask questions via your group?
Definitely. And there are some really good, as I say, questions that are on there. So to give you an idea, and I'm just kind of going in now, there's one question which is, what free or low-cost resources are available to SMEs for recruitment? The question before that is, what do you find are some of the best free tools for small businesses? Another one has put a really open kind of thought about the emotions of running a business. Some, another one about CRMs. It's and as I say, the beauty of it is, and I'm sorry to sound repetitive, is there isn't any sales pitch to this, and that's what makes the group so successful. Well, successful in me, because I learned a huge amount from it. And I'm a big believer that working for yourself is not the same as working by yourself. And these groups allow that communication to come together.
Yeah.
It's a really good idea, isn't it? I think what I'll do as well, Ed, after I come off here, is I'll go and look at your group. I know that you mentioned.
Yeah, I'll pop it. There's I've just stuck the link there. So go and have a look around and get involved and get chatting and ask questions and answer questions and get involved.
That's really good.
Perfect.
Really, really good.
Right.
Thanks for that, Ed.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. Right, I'm going to jump out and free up the seat. I did say it's going to be quick. Sam, no offense. I just have to kind of run.
Oh yeah.
And I'll see you guys soon.
Thanks for your time, Ed. All right. Hi, Sam. You okay?
Hi, Fran. Nice to meet you. I saw you doing your blab, and I have midterm kids here too, so don't worry about it. No, I just jumped in. I saw the top. Well, actually, I saw you, Damien. That's why. You see, when you're looking on blab, sometimes when you see someone you kind of want to support them as well. It's all about relationships, really, at the end of the day. So Damien supports a lot of my blabs. He'd jump into them. So, it's nice to reciprocate as well. So when I saw your little face there, I said, I better go in and just, say hi. But becoming magnetic and attracting your followers, that also attracted me. So.
Is that pointing at Fran?
Yeah, I think, my followers, like on Twitter, a lot of people say it's because, first of all, I have a really nice picture there, which I was doing a photo shoot for a charity calendar, and it's black and white, which is very flattering. And I had my makeup and my hair done, and it's a bit of a cheeky kind of smile, but everyone loves that picture, because I tried to change it once. And they were like, no, where's the other picture gone? And I was like, okay, calm down, So I changed it back. And so the picture is very important, because especially if you have a smiley face, because you can make someone's day by popping in and they see your picture coming up, believe it or not. And then also my other picture, which is, do you want to put my Twitter link in there just to show people? It's like it's got me with a hat and a cheeky grin as well. So it kind of shows my personality, that I don't take myself too seriously, but I'm really good at my job. That way you can still have fun in business and, still be good at your job, like be the best at what you do. So it kind of makes me approachable. And that's the secret, I think, to getting followers, is is if you're approachable to people, then they're more likely to reach out. They're more likely to retweet your stuff as well, you know. So that was just my little bit of input there. I think your bio and your pictures is so important initially, you know, to attract followers. You're going to attract people as well if you have stuff in your bio that's positive. You know, if you have, oh, I hate stupid people or blah, 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 you know, it's like, you know, you're not really going to attract too many people, you know, unless they're people that don't like stupid people as well. But can you imagine the conversations you're going to have with those people? You know, it's all going to be negative, isn't it? So that's my little tip.
I think you make a really good point there, Sam. I mentioned on here today about attitude, because I think this last 6 months I've connected up with people. Sorry, it's very funny, doesn't it? I've connected up with loads of people who are just really, really positive and really, really supportive. And I think it's just so important to get people around you who are supportive of you as a person, your business, and who can come in and help to support you in what you're doing. And I think that's a huge part of becoming a magnetic. If you've got other people around you, and they do say that you're like the people that you spend the most time with and stuff, you become like that person. So it's really important that you get people around you who are on the same mission as you, who have got the same sort of goals, the same kind of values and mindsets. And they'll support you and they'll retweet your content. And when you've got a group of people like that, like I've got on Twitter, like Damien's got on Twitter, and maybe yourself as well, Sam, then, you know, you've got people who will put your content out there. Yeah. So again, that just really helps that, because people will see it. They'll see that interaction. They'll wonder what's going on. And if you're being positive as well, you just can't fail to attract followers that way.
Mm-hmm. Oh, totally. And I mean, I remember one day I did put something, I was in a bad mood. It was ages ago, like a couple of years ago. And I was like, no interaction, no engagement, nothing. So then I went, So I took that down. And then this is in my early days, like, and I went, isn't it a gorgeous day today? The amount of interaction I got after that was unreal. Like, so people don't want to hear, well, unless it's something they identify with, like, I have a small business community as well, and a Facebook page, Irish Biz Party, but I've stepped back from that a bit. But, you know, that worked because sometimes I would say, oh, you know, that moment when the petrol gauge is on E and you're going to your next client to get your check, you know, that was different because they identified with that one. Driving around with petrol gauge on E and you're going to collect that check, and if they don't have the check, you know where you're getting home. That's a reality for small business owners, you know. So they all jumped in for that one, you know. Hi, Cara.
Hi, Samantha. How are you? Hi, Fran.
Hi, Cara. How are you doing? You're right.
Pardon?
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. Sorry, I didn't hear what you said. I'm up early, late.
Early or late?
Oh, okay. I'm up late, but I generally am. So, and Damien, lovely to see you again on Blab. So, thanks, Damien, for having me on. I made a comment over in the chat, Fran, that it's social media, so it's important to be sociable.
Yeah.
And if you've not seen any of what I do on here or heard what I talk about, I actually talk about the psychology of social media. And I help businesses demystify social media by using the psychology of it. And there was a big research paper done by Facebook, or probably about 3 years ago, Sam, that they actually manipulated people's news feeds based on positive or negative posts. And they found that when people saw more positive posts in their news feed, they actually responded more positively. And if the opposite was quite, the same, more negative posts meant more negative responses. Mm-hmm. And so I liken it to, you go into a shop. So you're running a Facebook page. It's like going into a shop. And you go into the shop, and when the sales assistant's all doom and gloom and long-faced, it really doesn't make you feel like spending any money or any time in there. You try and get what you need and get out if you decide to buy anything at all. Whereas if they're bright and happy and cheery and, welcoming and all of those kinds of things, you feel more inclined to spend money with them as well. And that's what I teach, my clients, and it's what I try and help businesses with is, to realize that it's a person on the other end. And a lot of people go to Facebook and social media platforms to escape the reality of their life, to escape their screaming kids in the background, to hide for 2 seconds on the loo, and catch up with their friends. All of those kinds. I'm a mum of 2 kids, and thankfully my kids have, we've done spring break here in Australia, and we're gearing up to the summer holidays. So that's our long break. So I'm going to be exactly that business owner that's going to escape for 2 minutes to the loo to find out what's going on. So
I thought I only did that.
It's tweeting.
No, but speaking of tweeting, what I was doing in the background was I was feeding Buffer. So Samantha, I've studied using Buffer a lot. I've listened to a lot of what Samantha has to say on Twitter, because I thought Twitter was full of B-grade celebrities and journalists following B-grade celebrities. But since starting Periscope and Blab, I've realized that there are just all of these different layers to Twitter. And
it's amazing.
Yeah, it is. So I use Buffer to schedule my posts over a 24-hour period. So what I do is I jump on late at night and I go, okay, so, what was on, what was big, what was happening, what will go with my theme this week, schedule. And I'm done for the next 24 hours. So.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. Yeah, the only thing is, Cara, I try not to schedule so much. I try and be there, like my team as well. Our unique selling point is the fact that we are there. Like I have my Twitter open at the moment while this is on, and I'm just checking the notifications as they come in. Scheduling is fine once you're going to check the notifications. So yeah, it's great for that. And Buffer, there's another one called Agora Pulse that you might want to check out.
I've heard of that.
Yeah. We're actually he's coming over to the social media summit. Emmerich, he's coming over to speak at the social media summit. It's pretty cool, but I mean, they do webinars on how to use it and all. And I actually had to do the webinars myself because I was a bit confused, but Jeannie, it's brilliant. But Buffer is definitely, I think, the simple, isn't it? And TweetDeck. I like TweetDeck.
Oh yeah.
I tried to use TweetDeck. I didn't like it. It didn't do much for me.
Well,
so
Cara, sometime if you want, we can do a little Skype call together and I'll screen share with you and show you. It's actually, I think it's the easiest one. And you don't have to pay for it either, just if you want to, I can just do that. Like just a 15-minute, I can just screen share and show you how, like for scheduling, it's brilliant. And then you can keep an eye. Yeah?
Sorry to interrupt, Samantha. Is it better than Hootsuite?
I think so. But then Hootsuite, you can do other platforms, you see. And Cara, you're doing other platforms as well, not just Twitter, are you?
I am, and I stopped using Hootsuite and moved to Buffer because Hootsuite wasn't doing Facebook groups, and I run a Facebook group.
Agora Pulse does that too. Yeah. Might be worth checking them out. But yes, the Hootsuite, I don't like Hootsuite. Well, I actually don't like scheduling as a rule. But then, I run other Twitter accounts for people. I can't always be there all the time. But that's just me, though. But then I suppose it's because I see a lot of scheduled tweets coming out and then I might engage with them and then I don't hear anything. So it's different if you're scheduling and you're actually checking your notifications and you're responding, then that's fine. Once you respond within, yeah, that's fine. Then like I just, there are so many tools out there, so many.
Yeah.
So really,
sorry.
Oh, and Cara, what were you going to say?
Well, what I was going to say is I only schedule, I think there's about 10 or 12 posts in a 24-hour period that I schedule. It's not a lot. It's not one every 5 minutes. One, my brain does not have the capacity to find that many tweets. Or, I can use, reschedule things and reshare them, rebuffer them. But I don't like doing that. But I've got Twitter open on my desktop and it's on my phone, so the notifications are pushed out. And I absolutely agree. It's about the interaction, and that goes back to what I was saying. It's social media. You have to be sociable. You have to interact and engage. And these are just platforms to do it, but I don't, funnily enough, because Facebook is where I hang out and I do most of my stuff, I don't really schedule on Facebook. Unless I'm going to be out when, you know, my clients know that I would normally be posting, I don't schedule on Facebook.
Yeah, I don't like to schedule on Facebook either. I think it depends. Look, everyone has their own little ways. I don't particularly like to because I find, you know, people are definitely there at certain times on Facebook, and it kind of shows as well. You can see it's scheduled.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just, yeah, but I mean, sorry, Fran, what do you do? Sorry, I haven't had a chance to check you and follow you on Twitter there.
Hey, no problem. Basically, I head up a business centre. I work for Leeds Beckett University, and we support a lot of startup businesses with training and mentoring. So I'm working with a lot of sort of small business owners, just helping them with office space and just helping them to grow their businesses. And we run networking events as well. But we also run sort of our own social media training. So we really encourage the businesses that we work with to increase their online presence and to, you know, to engage across all these different platforms. It's often, I find, not valued as much by the businesses that we work with, and I think it's trying to get them to understand the value online as another means of growing their business. Really, it's often seen as something that they will postpone doing, or, you know, that's low down on their priority list. So I think it is just it is so important, and I know that this last 6 months, I've certainly increased my own online presence. I've joined newer platforms, things like Instagram. Incredibly, I must have been one of the few people who didn't have a presence on Instagram. But actually, I've spoken to a few people there since then, and there are people who aren't using that platform. And I don't know about you two, but I absolutely love it. I think it's a great platform, and it's great the way that it connects with Facebook and Twitter, so you can work across those platforms. And I like sort of the visual format of it. And again, that's just been another way of sort of increasing my following, really, of using Instagram more. What are your thoughts about Instagram?
Yeah, I'm not great on it, I have to say, because I try and concentrate on the one that I'm really good at, because that's my business, you know, like I do Twitter workshops, I run Twitter accounts for other businesses, I do strategies and consultations for businesses on how to engage and how to use Twitter properly. So Twitter is my best one. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, I run a women's Facebook group as well. Really? It's an international group. Yeah, it's Women's Inspire Network. We run a hashtag chat on Tuesday evenings as well. So that would be the same time zone as you. Yeah, 10 p.m. Have a look at Women's Inspire hashtag. You'll find everyone on that. That went really well last night. So there's loads of female entrepreneurs there, you know, if you want to connect with them. And but you see, that's what I use Facebook for more so, is for the groups, for connecting people with each other. I did start off with a Facebook page, but Twitter is my baby. Like Twitter, I just love the engagement, the friends I've made, the people that have engaged with me that I should never have met. You see, what I do is I build relationships on Twitter, and then I take them to direct message, then I take them to a Skype call, and then I take them to a coffee. Or yeah. It's the same as Bab, really. I mean, look, I'm running a social media summit 2nd of March in Dublin. And there's going to be exactly what you're saying. It's going to be concentrating on enhancing your customers' experience through engagement and through engaging with the people. Like, companies aren't engaging with their customers at all. Like, you know, there's one company I know, he has it's a big tourist company actually, and they have like 50,000 followers, and they're following like 700. I mean, how is that going to make their followers feel special? If I think they should follow more back, you know, and start engaging with them. Because they're more likely to get more retweets, and, you know, they should be putting up pictures that their followers are sending them of Ireland and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, that's why I'm doing this, because a lot of companies still don't get it, you know, that it's about social media's engagement, you know, talking to your customers. So, yeah.
It's doing it right now as well, so rather than tomorrow.
Exactly. We expect a response now.
Yeah.
Well, that's just it. I mean, I was talking about social proof today with Ryan Steinolfsen, Periscope Ryan, and there's some stats around purchasing, and what it was that 70% of shoppers look at business reviews before they make a purchase. And if businesses don't have a social media presence, even if it's a Google business page, they're missing out because that's where their customers are doing the research before they purchase.
And I often go to a website and I often go to click, okay, what's their Twitter account? And some of them don't even have a connect with us on Twitter, connect with us on Facebook, connect, you know. Yeah. And I'm like, why do they not have that button? Because that's how I find hotels, especially. If I know the name of a hotel, I find the website, and then I want to ask them on Twitter because I'm on Twitter. I want to ask them, look, have you got a room for tonight or whatever? Like, I mean, that's their first customer service port of call is Twitter and Facebook. Like, you are the first point of contact for potential customers. I totally agree. Yeah, I know. And 82%, that another statistic for you, 82% of people are more likely to buy from a small business owner they have engaged with on Twitter than someone else.
Wow.
Yep.
Statistics are amazing, aren't they, really? And it's funny now because whenever I'm going anywhere, I'm sort of checking with them. And Damien does this as well, don't you, Damien? To check if they're on Periscope or if they've heard of Periscope and Blab and things. And it's just so important to get people out there and with that online presence. I mean, those statistics are massive, aren't they, in terms of what this can be doing to promote themselves.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, that's just...
Because people who run market stalls, and he's done some really interesting scopes with them as well. But it's just, again, it's another avenue for them to be able to promote themselves and their business. But it's just getting people to understand the benefit, really.
I would, yeah. I mean, that's what I kind of do when I'm in out in my local village walking around. I kind of do I've done a Periscope before in my local village, Skipton, and I've obviously showing a few market stallers exactly what they could be doing rather than just stood there and waiting for somebody to buy off them.
Yeah.
You know, just there's so much you can actually do if you're just a small shop, you know, instead of because you see all these shopkeepers or the market stalls and just sat there.
Look at Chocolate Johnny. You know Chocolate Johnny?
Yes. Yeah.
Perfect example. He has a chocolate shop in Australia.
Yep.
And he's getting orders from all over the world now because he's so popular, because he's talking to his customers. He's attracting customers from all over the world.
It's amazing.
Mad.
Yeah, and some of his scopes are just chocolate running on his machines.
Chocolate's sweet.
Well, that's just it. His Wednesday scopes are done from the factory, and I've been on one scope, I think it was last week, and all you could see was this pouring chocolate. And one, it was hypnotizing, and two, I just wanted to dive straight in. But it's pure marketing. And the thing that he does also is turn his locations on so that people can find him at the shop. They can go to him. They know exactly where it is. And then you've got the fact that people will come in so that with the hope that they will get on Periscope with Chocolate Johnny. So...
Well, once I was going to bed with my daughter, my 9-year-old, and I saw he was live, we were looking at videos on the phone, and I saw he was live, and I said, oh, will we say hello to Chocolate Johnny? So I went on the Periscope, and I said, I put a little comment, will you say hello to Abby? You know, my daughter. And he went, oh, hello, Abby, are you going to bed? And Abby was like, oh, how do you know my name? It's brilliant. But that's not so sweet. Just that little personal touch has a fan here for life. You know?
Exactly.
It's all about the people, isn't it, really?
Yeah, it really is. Brilliant. Yeah, I know. In fact, when Damien comes back in about weeks ago, Damien, did you catch that last bit?
Just something about people. Sorry, I was just refreshing my window because it's a bit glitchy. Sorry.
I was just saying, Chocolate Johnny, I was going to bed with my daughter, and my daughter's 9, and I said, oh, look, Chocolate Johnny is live, will we say hello? And so she was like, oh, he's really funny. And I said in the comments, will you say hello to Abby? And he went, "Oh, hello, Abby. Are you going to bed now?" And she was like, "Oh, he just said my name, Mummy." And it was just like really funny. Like, it was so sweet, you know. And he's a fan here forever now. You know?
Yeah, I can resonate with that, can't I, Fran? With my other business. My other business is Sweetie Guy.
Oh, cool.
Really?
His daughter has started copying his phrases.
That's lovely.
But when he's selling his sweets and things, because Damien.
And how old is she? How old is she, Damien?
It's not sorry, Fran. It's not my daughter actually. That's somebody else's. It's like somebody that connected on Twitter, and she watched my Periscope, and then she showed it to her daughter, and she basically copied what I was saying because she liked my accent.
Brilliant. But that's good. That's branding right there,
exactly.
Isn't it?
I mean,
Really?
that's the interaction.
Tagline. Yeah. Like, I mean, Twitter magic. I often put like Fab Blab in my tweets, or you know, if I'm commenting on a blab, I have Twitter magic as well. You know, and it's like people actually tweet to me when something good happens to them on Twitter, and they say to me, blah blah blah, this happened, and then they go #Twitter magic. So they're actually using the hashtag themselves.
Ooh.
And that's what you want. You want people to start using your, you know, I created Mummy Pages chat for a client I had, Mummy Pages, and they started putting tweets up and then putting Mummy Pages chat in the tweet. And that's what you want, you see. So if you have a Sweetie Man, or I Love Sweets, or Sweets Rock or something, do you know what I mean? You can think of something like that. So then every time someone has a sweet, they're going to think of Damien. They're going to go, oh, Sweets Rock, or Sweet Damien, Sweet Guy, or whatever it is. It's all about the branding and talking to people.
It's a real hook. It's a real hook, definitely. I think
Exactly.
Really good. And I just wanted to, if I can, just pick up on a point that Karen made a bit earlier. Karen, and it's kind of what you're saying there as well, Samantha. I think it's just about if you put something positive in. I love Fab Blab. I think that's brilliant. If you've got something really positive, people are more likely to engage with you. And I was just going to say that a while back, I was on Periscope, and I was kind of experimenting a bit with titles. And I did a Periscope, which was called Let's Talk About Failure, but I didn't really want to, it was kind of like to draw people in, and Richard McCann does this a lot, you know, from I Can Inspire. He kind of puts out a title to almost shock, so that people will come in, but then he's not really saying that thing, you know, he'll talk about something else. So I was trying to do something like that, really, and I just said, let's talk about failure, but I wasn't really talking about failure. I was talking about, oh, sorry, can you barely hear me? Sorry, is that any better? Is that, sorry, at Jeb Record just said he could barely hear me. So
that's better, yeah.
About how you can turn it around. However, Let's Talk About Failure brought in a lot of negative people.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was really not a positive environment at all. So
whereas you could say how I went from failure to success.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. Yeah, that's it. It's all in you know what you put in your titles, and I suppose that again that's another point in terms of that becoming magnetic and attracting your followers. It is about having titles that will draw people in. Things like Fab Lab, or how to be, you know, how to become a success, or whatever. People do want to hear something positive. There's a lot of negativity.
Oh yes.
A lot of negativity out there. There's a lot of negativity in the news, and people are looking for that motivation and inspiration and things. So it's just giving thought to your titles. I love Twitter magic. There it is. I love # Twitter magic, and I love # Fab Lab. I think they're brilliant. It's a really good idea.
But you know what I did
it's
with
like
them?
our next step, isn't it, Fran?
Like what, Damien?
Busy,
like our next
who's
step.
here on Blab made them for me. Do you know that? Busy, he's Trevor, Busy Fizzy, he's Busy Fizzy, he's on Blab.
Yeah.
He made them for me and sent them to me in the post.
Oh, really?
I mean, who am I going
awesome.
to recommend for stuff like that now? Trevor.
Exactly.
You know, I'm showing it all the time.
Well,
So these are little ways of he's like an ally now, and actually he's coming over to the social media summit too. So I'm going to actually meet him, and that's all from Twitter and then Blab.
that's really
You know,
good.
so it's not just
Fantastic.
about engaging here on Blab. Like myself and Damien don't know each other very well, but we have started chatting a bit more here. We chatted on Twitter first, that right, Damien? And then Blab, I think we did an email as well, or DM. But anyway, it was like, you know, you keep the relationship going, and then also you take it offline. So eventually I do try and meet as many as I can people, you know. It's amazing. It's changed my whole life. It really has. Twitter really has.
Well, then you'll have to come to Australia next May, Sam, for Periscope Summit.
Sounds awesome. Can we all come?
Please do.
Australia.
I was going to say as well that I think it's gone blank. What was I going to say?
Sorry.
I hate it when that happens. It's just about one of the things that we've got at the moment, sort of in the Twitter group that I'm part of. It's not really a group. It's just kind of happened that way. There's a few of us that kind of encourage and support each other. And one of the things that we talk about is giving to people. And I think it's that thing about giving value. But I think when you are giving to other people, they're much more likely, you know, if you're working with people that you're giving out to, they're more likely to give back to you. And I think that's how you get mentioned. And again, it's just another way of increasing your following. I mean, I will plug Damien now, but I mean, Damien does a lot to help and support me as well. And I think it's just natural that you just kind of help out each other. So you are plugging other people's businesses as you go along. Also, I've plugged the businesses that I work with that, you know, I've got so many clients. So I'm always trying to give them a shout out and a mention. It's just that other way of attracting your following and just increasing it, really.
Yeah, it's just building up that interaction and always kind of being there, and just keep going, really. Keep doing what you're doing, and obviously, you know, people will come to you for what you actually offer as well.
Yeah, that's happened to me already from Blab. Like I've done some Skype calls, one in Abu Dhabi, one in Canada. You know, like I mean, it's I'm going to be speaking at the Periscope. Robert is bringing me over to America to speak, Cara, at the one on the East Coast. Yeah. So my vision board, I had a vision board of America for a long time. So I'm very, I haven't got a confirmation on all official yet, but yes, he keeps talking about it and keeps mentioning it. So, and the social media summit, like I always wanted to get certain people, and Robert's coming over to speak at my social media summit, and that's all from building relationships here. You know, we've never met before, ever, you know. But the most important thing I think as well is if you're good online, you're going to be good offline. If you're good offline, you're going to be good online. If you're a horrible person, it's not going to work for you anyway, you know. Yeah. So it's just, you know, surround yourself with those good people.
Brian Fanzo said that at the last Periscope Summit, is that if you suck offline, you'll suck online as well. So he was quite direct about it. So.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, you never know who might turn up to Dublin, you know. You never know.
Yeah. Because
more announcements coming.
Just saying, my passport is current. I've never been to Ireland. I've flown over it.
Have you? Oh, it's such a long trip, though, isn't it? It really is. Like, but look, Jesus, I mean, we've loads coming from Blab. We had one yesterday. Scott, he was talking about coming over with his wife. And he's like, he texted his wife and said, "Hey, do you fancy going to Dublin?" She was like, "What? Dublin? What are we going there for?" You know, so it's just about making it a whole experience for the people that come. I'm going to do a trip to Guinness, you know, have a traditional Irish stew or something for dinner and all hang out real relaxed and, you know, make it nice. So I'm all excited. I better go and do some more work, actually. I can't stay. Sorry, I better do, because I'm supposed to be working, so I just got distracted again.
When is it, Sam? Sorry, just let us know when it is. Do you have a
2nd of March? Yeah, I'll throw it in there. Hang on.
We can put a link up for it. Right?
And Damien, it wouldn't be that dear for you to come over. It's only about 50 quid, I think, at the moment. The tickets. I mean, the tickets for the flights. The flights. The early birds.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah. But
so two things, Samantha.
There's
one,
the link.
would it help that?
Thank you.
Would it help that I'm part Irish? Would that help? And two, if you got Scott Torrance on the stage, I would be there in a flash. So
who's he?
Yeah.
I don't know him.
Scott Torrance. He hasn't been on Periscope for a while. He has been on Blab for not for a while either, but he is an Irish businessman, heavily involved in marketing. I'll find him for you, and I'll send you some stuff.
Is he speaking at the
Absolutely
Australia
amazing
one?
mind.
Is he speaking? Does he live in Australia?
No,
No.
no, he lives in Ireland. He lives in Ireland. So
I'll check him out.
Have a look.
I have him here. I'll check him
Yeah,
out. I'll check him out.
I'll find him for you and send.
I mean, I
send you
better
a
go.
link.
I'm sorry, guys. I better go because and there's a big shine coming in the window. And we need to invent a screen that we can work outside in the sunshine. So can someone invent one, please? Yeah, that would be great.
Okay, I'm on it today.
See you guys. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for joining, Sam. Thank you. Bye.
Oh, thanks for joining in, Sam.
Fran, I was going to say what your initiative sounds a lot like is we have a thing called the Polaris Centre here in Adelaide, and it's run by the University of South Australia, and it's exactly has the same mission, same purpose, and same outcomes as well.
Cool. Great stuff. That sounds good. Yeah, sort of an incubator type function, really, about nurturing and supporting startups to grow. That's
yeah.
How many businesses are there?
At the Polaris Centre, I'm not too sure because and I've just put their name over in the side.
Right.
I'm not sure because, to be honest, I haven't gone down there. I've been too busy. But they do provide advice and seminars and breakfasts and those kinds of things to small business, not necessarily just startups, but small businesses as well.
Sure.
So yeah, but I shall jump as well because I need to go off and do some more work before it hits midnight.
Fine. Oh, God.
It's been lovely.
Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you, Cara.
Really appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Nice to meet you, Fran.
You
Bye.
See you soon, Cara.
Twitter as well, Cara, after this. So it's great to have that connection today. Thanks ever so much for your input. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Oh, you got Jed coming in.
Good stuff.
I've added you as a co-host, Fran, as well, so you can add people as well.
Thank you. Hi, Jed.
Hi, Jed.
Hello. Hi, guys.
How are you?
I'm great, thanks. Just getting my coffee together and perusing the blabs, seeing what's going on before I get back involved into the day.
Great stuff.
Brilliant, yeah. I love your mug, and I love your earbud. Well, your board behind you as well, looking good.
What's that?
Creative.
What's behind me?
Yeah, is it your board behind you with some notes on there?
Oh yeah. So I've got a whiteboard over here, and it's actually movable, so I can swing it behind me and teach. It's pretty handy.
It's fantastic.
Oh, Samantha jetted out of the room. Too bad. I wanted to ask her more about her event. I'm excited about her event that she's hosting in Dublin in March. Where are you guys based at?
We've got somebody else coming in.
Okay. Fran, where are you located?
I'm in Leeds in the UK.
Okay. How about you, Damien? Damien, where are you at? Damien's busy.
No.
Damien's out.
It's having fun and games today, I think.
I'm here in North Carolina in the U.S.
Oh, fantastic. And what is it that you do, Jed? Can you hear me, Jed?
Yeah, sometimes your mic fades in and out, Fran.
I think it's because I'm on the iPad. Sorry.
Okay.
So it might be the mic.
Looks like Marcus is getting his stuff together. He's also in the UK.
I'm sorry, guys. You're quite right. I am.
Oh, that's all right, Marcus.
You just missed a moment where I almost spilled double unfinished coffee all over my.
Oh no!
That was the look of panic you saw on my face all at once, trying to get my lighting right, which is always a problem. So I'm going to switch so you can actually see me.
So we can see you now.
Hello and good afternoon. First, I'm awesome, and I want to thank both of you. Ironically, see, you don't know me, but I know you. That's the power of Blab.
Social media. Online.
Correct, Amino. So Jed, I've seen on many a blab, particularly tech blabs and other bits and bobs. So I feel like I kind of semi-know you already, which is cool.
Oh, fantastic. Hey, great to see you, Marcus.
Welcome once again. And Fran, I'm involved in the Home Workers Network, so I was watching a replay, and
Really?
I feel like I got to know you just yesterday, well, this morning at 2 a.m. or something stupid.
Awesome. I was
So-
up then.
as are we all in this way. So no, I just wanted to. I saw you on, and I was talking with the guys on Slack. I was just complimenting them on the show, and I thought, given that you were there, I couldn't really resist coming in and saying, "Hi, I'm the guy that normally does their top tech tips."
Awesome. Brilliant.
So I was quite fascinated by what you do and how you do it. So welcome.
Oh, that's really cool. Thank you very much for that. Thanks a lot. That's brilliant. Yeah, I really enjoyed that. That was actually my first blab, Marcus.
Oh, really? Wow! And look at you. Here you are, addicted with the rest of us. Not a day later.
Pretty much.
Yeah, Blab's a phenomenal platform.
Yeah, but no, it's really good, that network. That's a good one for me to connect in with as well, because I work with, like I was saying on there, I work with a lot of home workers. There's a lot of people who come to us who have been working from home, or who still are, maybe some of our virtual office members working from home and just need that support, really. So yeah, good to meet you.
Blab is great for that. I used to work at out of the home, and it can really be hard when you're not getting to talk to your peers and just kind of getting your brain straight. You just get buried in your work, and you can really get frustrated. At least that's the way I felt.
Yeah.
It's interesting for me, actually, because the two subjects really collide. On the one hand, because now I work for a massive organisation called ADP, which some of you guys in the States will know possibly a little bit more than the UK. They're involved in HR and payroll solutions. And my role within that is very much working with the sales enablement team to implement social media strategies, social selling, all of that kind of thing. So I have a very vested interest in looking at new technologies and ways to communicate. Now, this particular platform doesn't necessarily lend itself to the one-on-one in the way that perhaps many of us might like. So hence why the Home Workers Network, we were talking about things like appear.in and other solutions that are possibly a bit more useful for that kind of offline interaction. But what I found fascinating about what you do is one of the things we often talk about on the Home Workers Network is what we do. In fact, funnily enough, the next show is going to be about what we do for fun. And that's an important part of the business process, right? And in terms of enjoying what you do. And ironically, I wouldn't necessarily call it fun, but one of the things I feel I need to do in terms of breaking up my working day lends itself to your topic a little bit in terms of gathering followers and sort of networking and connecting, is that I frequent places like yours. I have a site in the UK, in Nottingham, that is a kind of hub where I go, and there's a lot of developer types and people who are involved in literally either print media or visual media. And that just is probably by coincidence because they're attached to a college of sorts. But I find it fascinating to go there and work in that environment and be away from my home office. And, again, from a networking perspective, I've many a time sat and had a conversation with somebody there and then found myself then following them on Twitter or LinkedIn. And it all leads to a conversation, right? I mean, like I said, I didn't know Jed, but for a few weeks ago, and just by watching the interactions that he has, I feel like I certainly know him a bit more, and I'm sure I will see your.
Fantastic! Yeah, you'll have to shout at me in the comments more often, so I can come find you when you're on your blog. That's great.
I'm a lurker.
Not a lurker. That's cool.
That's how it goes. Anyway, I better crack on. I just thought I'd say hello. It's very frustrating, the one thing I hate about the Mac is that they don't put the camera in the center of the screen. Wouldn't that make much more sense? If you're listening out there, Apple, this is the new innovation you need to do. Damien, I'm sorry I didn't really say hi to you. I've just been.
It's all right, Marcus. Sorry, I had to jump in. It's half term today, so I'm juggling 3 children. Sorry.
I know the feeling. I'm very fortunate, actually. I'm in Buckinghamshire today. Ironically, as you know, I mentioned I'm in Nottingham usually, but I'm in Buckinghamshire. I'm working from my folks' house, my old bedroom, which is trippy. And my kids are with their grandparents across town, so I had to get away because yesterday I was trying to combine my pleasures, and it just wasn't possible. Yeah. So I've I've skipped out, so I've got a bit of alone time to get some work done today. But I shall be lurking and listening. But thanks so much for entertaining me.
Thanks for joining in, Marcus, and it's great to meet you. And I'm sure we'll speak again.
For sure, do jump on if you guys haven't come across the Homeworkers Network. I think you've been on before, haven't you, Jed?
Yes, I have, and I am now following you, so I'll be able to see that more frequently.
Cool. No, that's. I mean, it's obviously a small and growing community, I think, but definitely something that lends itself very well to the types of things that we are trying to achieve in this community generally. And I see out there in the, there are many familiar faces. I see Leanne out there in the comments and stuff.
Yeah, she just came in the room. Hi, Leanne.
It's crazy. So it's a great community, and I really have enjoyed making connections with people. And as I think Dichi was saying yesterday, one of the things about Blab, ironically, is that you very quickly find your Twitter engagement going up as a result of this, because here you find you're following people, and you really do get to kind of look behind the under the hood, as I like to call it, and get to know who people really are. So
yeah, and I find that the post Blab engagement on Twitter is a great way to strengthen your connections with the people that you're meeting on Blab, because we can't sit here all day, although we'd like to. It's a great way to maintain those relationships even when you're not able to get in. So sure. I think that directly relates back to the topic of, being magnetic and attracting your followers. Well, I think really being magnetic is being a listener, being engaged, and wanting to maintain a relationship with people, and taking it to another platform when you can't be on camera is a great way to do that.
That's a really great tip, Jed. I like that.
Definitely, yeah.
I'm going to jump off and leave some space for somebody else, but great meeting you all again, and I hope to catch up.
Yeah, good to see you, Marcus. Yeah.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Marcus. Yeah, it's a really good point, that, Jed. I mean, across all channels, that's what you have to be on, the major kind of social media platforms to give that engagement. And the Blab is just amazing, because we're kind of interacting live through video streaming. So it's just amazing stuff. Yeah,
and the fact that it's connected with Twitter is such a big help to be able to make it an easy transition to communicate with our folks on Twitter. If your handle was different, and some of them are, but most aren't, if your handle was different than what it was on Twitter, then it would be kind of difficult for me. I'd have to say, oh, well, what are you on Twitter, or how are you on Facebook, and how are we going to connect outside of Blab? And it's nice that I can just follow you here. And if something comes up that oh, wow, Damien would really like this, I can go log on to your page on Blab, and then instantly I've got your Twitter, and I can send you a tweet, something that I might have found. Looks like my friend Annie just joined us. Hi, Annie. Good to see you.
Hey, Annie. You want to come in?
So we've got a lot of interesting folks up here. I'm looking at the circles up top. A lot of pretty interesting people in here, so that's great. I know I came in the middle. I didn't catch you at the beginning of the Blab, but what's the recap so far on the conversations you've been having?
I think basically it's just people coming in and kind of giving their value really on how they engage with people online. So we've kind of mentioned like Facebook groups as well. Using hashtag hours kind of thing, hashtags on Twitter, okay. But then obviously crossing that across to Facebook groups as well, where people can actually ask questions, post questions, and actually interact within a group rather than a page where you don't get to see all the posts on a page.
Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah, Leanne, it's late. It's late for you.
Oh,
bed.
Usually the other way around.
Don't let us keep you up. I'll stop calling you out. I have to stop saying your name because you won't close the window if I keep talking about you. Yeah, Facebook's groups, I think that's a great opportunity. And good to jump on now before people find themselves as members of too many groups and then don't want to join yet another Facebook group. and I don't know if you've tried the app on. I know it's on iOS because I have it on my phone, but I don't know about Android. But there's the Groups app for Facebook. Have you seen this?
Yeah.
Super helpful because I can shut off all of my notifications for the groups that I just kind of haphazardly join and go in and out of, but I can keep them on for the groups where I'm a primary contributor or if I'm a host of that particular group. So I commend people in here in the Blab, if you haven't downloaded that app and given it a try, very, very helpful to keep tabs on groups in a more organized way. Annie, hello, good afternoon.
Hey,
good
How are
evening.
you?
Good.
All good, thank you. Yourself?
Fine. I think I have an echo. Do you hear that? Just a sec.
No, I don't hear it on my end here.
Okay, now it should be better. Okay.
Yeah, sounds great.
I love the topic. You've kind of formulated it in a very nice way.
Well, that's thanks to Fran. Fran,
Yeah,
Fran came up with it.
Yeah, it sounds like really attractive.
Having a magnetic person. Yeah, that's a great Blab title. So people should share this out. Let's tell a little bird and see if we can
Let's do that.
grow the bird.
Okay.
Definitely. Good idea.
Done.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Annie.
That's cool.
Thanks for that, Jed.
Great.
Yeah, all right.
So, Annie,
Annie's got a magnetic personality. So Annie, maybe you can give us some tips on how you've built your magnetic personality. And I know when you start a Blab, I instantly see people fill the room, and it's kind of the same group keeps coming in. How do you do it? I'd love to hear the tips.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't do it like intentionally. I'm trying to be myself, so I don't really prepare in advance. I just leave it to flow naturally. So it's just people talking to each other. I mean, all I'm trying to do is so they don't really drift too far away from the topic or become a little bit boring, because I end up having sometimes guests who kind of, talk about the same thing in too much detail and then repeating themselves and stuff like that. So, I'm always kind of keeping in mind the people who are in the chat and who are watching. And I'm trying to kind of make sure that it's interesting to them, because I always kind of have this in mind that these people have the choice of, making one click and going away somewhere else. So
that's a great point. Yeah.
So for me, it's important to kind of to figure out and understand, first of all, why did they come for? What did they come for? Like, if I'm putting a title, I make sure they get something about that topic and they get at least one tip out. So for me, it's like my main goal is to make sure that these people didn't come and didn't waste the time being on the Blab, but they got something out of it.
Good.
And
I will interrupt you for 1 sec, Annie, and remind the audience, not everybody here knows about your fantastic podcast. And Annie's a blogger too. So she's got this audience, like we talked about before, on other platforms. And so she's coming to Blab with a little bit of an advantage that she's got these followers on her podcast and her blog. And I don't know how much work you do on there sharing about the Blabs that you're doing, Annie. Is that some of the reason that you might have people coming in? But
well, I mean, to
crossing
be honest,
these platforms really can help you grow that audience.
That can help a lot, of course. I'm not sure how many of the podcast listeners are actually on Blab and vice versa. So I don't know. I mean, I make them know that Blab exists, and I kind of, I tell them that I'm doing part of my podcast interviews recorded live on Blab, so they can come and become part of it. I'm not doing all of my interviews on Blab, to be honest, because it's it's not always appropriate. I mean, I have noticed actually when I'm listening to the recordings which were done on Blab, I see a little bit of difference in style. I mean, those are more casual and a little bit of bigger challenge to edit those to make sure that the quality of the sound is good. So unless I have a backup recording on Skype also, and that's what I'm using usually, if I don't have a backup recording, I end up with lower quality. And it's, either I make sure I have the backup, or I make sure also that my guest is comfortable being on video, because I have been myself a person who avoided videos at all costs. So, if it was me a few months ago and someone asked me for a video interview, I would most probably say no. Or, if I agreed, most probably it would be a little bit tense interview and, it wouldn't really flow well. So I kind of, it depends on the guest and it depends on the topic. So, but as to how I'm getting audience on Blab, I guess, most of the times I just share whatever is coming up on my social networks. So it's mainly Facebook and Twitter. I'm not doing too much emailing, to be honest. I'm not very good at I have a list, but I kind of, I don't email them too often. So I don't really let them know about every single Blab, because they will most probably get crazy. They will be getting too many emails from me. And also, I'm just using the platform itself, because there are loads of amazing people I didn't know, and I found them here. So I make sure I just keep an eye on the Blabs which are related to my topics and to what I'm doing. And then I pay attention to who are the people who are getting on those Blabs and who are listening to those Blabs, because eventually they are those people who will be interested in my Blabs as well. Most probably. If it's, if I'm doing a podcast for writers and it's about writing, self-publishing and marketing, any Blab which is around those topics and the audience of any of those Blabs would potentially be my audience for the Blabs around those same topics as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So you kind of testing the waters out really with Blab.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's been successful for Annie. That's my personal feeling, because I've really enjoyed her Blabs, and it's, it may be because I fall in her audience group. I'm writing a book. She does. She talks about writing and how to write a book, so it's a good fit for us. But
and that's very important, actually. The important thing is not the number of the audience so much as to how relevant it is to what kind of audience you want to get. So, I prefer to have a smaller audience, but, of people who are really about things I am about. So, if it's a targeted audience, it's much better than just pretty much having everyone on there who, if they don't care, it's not very effective. Marcus is asking, what sort of audience numbers are we getting? Am I getting? Well, can you tell me, Marcus, what do you mean? Do you mean for the podcast or for the Blabs I'm doing? Because they are very different. I'll tell you.
and the Blabs, it's more interactive, right? And like you said, the audience is much more focused. I don't know. Your podcast audience might be very relevant as well too, but I know the conversations that we're having in the Blabs.
I'm losing many people from my podcast audience in Blabs, because majority of them are listening to my podcast when they are commuting to work and back. Yeah. So they are driving. Obviously, they can't watch a Blab. And, and it's on demand thing. So they can kind of, they have the app in their smartphone that just, switch it on, choose the episode and drive. And my episodes are around, in average, 40 minutes long. So I guess they just, it covers more or less their trip to work and back. And that's when they listen. So I guess most of them will not be watching my Blabs. I don't know.
Annie, do you know?
about knowing your audience, and I think that's the thing. It's knowing your audience across each platform and knowing what they're expecting and wanting from you means that you can pitch your content accordingly.
Yeah, I mean, it's very difficult to say which way it works, because I mean, very often what we are being taught is before you start anything, let's say before you launch a podcast, you have to figure out are you doing this for. So you come up with an avatar. Who is your ideal listener, for example. So you end up realizing who that person is, what his pain points are, what he's interested in, what his lifestyle is, etc. And then you customize the content to make sure that it's very interesting to that person. The other thing is, on the other hand, if you don't have that person in mind, you just, you don't have an audience. Yeah, you may have a very small audience already. So you can pick up one of the existing people who are already listening to your podcast, and you start kind of, keeping him in mind, create content for the podcast. And then you will attract those similar people in who will be coming. So it's just, I'm not sure which way it works best, whether to come up with someone and create the content accordingly, or you create the content that is around a certain thing, and then people who are interested will come. It's just, both ways may work. I'm not sure which works best, though.
Those are great points. I really appreciate you sharing that here. And I mean, she's not just somebody who stumbled into Blab. Like, this is a person who's interviewed Chris Brogan on her podcast, people like Peter Shankman. So this is a woman who kind of mingles with the big heavy hitters. And so I find it when she's coming in and doing some Blabs and bringing a podcast episode or two onto Blab, I pay attention to what she's doing, because she definitely knows what she's doing off of the Blab platform. And so I want to see what these professionals are doing on the Blab platform. So it's a good person to follow and keep a watch on.
Oh,
sorry about that, Annie. I know I know you don't like me bragging on you like that, but I had to.
Yeah, well, I see questions there. So is the highlighting of the questions changed?
Yes.
You just
it
have
has
to?
changed. They did an update last night and changed the way they highlight the questions.
I hate this. I'm recording an online course about Blab, so every time I have to re-record parts because they don't look the same anymore when I'm doing it.
Yeah.
So you're teaching social media.
It's just, it happens too fast. I just recorded something yesterday, and I'm just looking at this, and I have to re-record most probably. So what would you say is the avatar of your audience? Who is the listener? My listener? Well, my listener, it's funnily enough, I created this avatar, and he even had a name. His name was Tom. And eventually, when I started engaging with the audience, when it's already grew a little bit and people started kind of, connecting with me, I realized that, it's exactly my avatar. So I don't know too much about Judd, so he will tell if he fits the avatar. But what I created in my mind when I was just starting was that it was, my avatar was a man who worked full time. He was between 25 to 50, and his work wasn't related to writing, but he was most probably either writing his first book or thought about writing his first book. And he was interested in things not really specifically only about writing, but everything else that he didn't know what needs to be done to the book once he finishes that book. So while he was writing his first book, he was also listening to the podcast to find out, once he finishes that book, what needs to be done and how it needs to be marketed and how to self-publish that specific book, etc., etc. So basically that was like the main thing. And I was thinking that I was going to cover two fields. So the one part would be the knowledge thing that, people, my guests would be sharing practical tips and, things that they tried and worked and didn't work and stuff like that. And the other part was emotional part, which was encouragement and inspiration, where we were talking about things like, why you shouldn't give up, and, all these doubts and struggles and how to overcome them. And the mental mindset part, which is, I think, equally important, because if you have too many doubts, most probably you won't even start writing at the first place. So Jet should tell me if it's my avatar.
Absolutely. So writing my first book, I'm definitely between 25 and 50, maybe closer. Well, I'm not gonna go there. And so my main job is speaking, not writing. So I'm not a writer by nature, and so it takes a little bit of encouragement and for me to keep sticking to my writing schedule. So I love hearing when she interviews other writers and other people like Chris. So I really relate to Chris Brogan because he kind of started out like me too, kind of more on the speaking side, less on the writing side, and then forced himself into the habit of writing. And I saw, and now he's a voracious writer. I don't know how you'd say it. That's a reading probably, but he writes all the time now. And so it showed me that you can train yourself to be a great writer or to be a regular writer. So that, and it was from Annie's interview of him that I've learned about that. I've met Chris in person, but it wasn't until I heard Annie's interview with him that I really realized how much this was a struggle for him as well when he started. So
it's always so difficult to interview big names, and not because they are big names and you're kind of, intimidated by that. No, what is difficult is that they have given out so many interviews already that it's a big challenge to make sure that your interview with that person is different, because most probably he has spoken about the same thing in the same way. People end up asking the same question on different podcasts, different, shows and stuff like that. So it's very the bigger the name, more difficult it is to come up with original content. And in the very beginning, I was just going through all the interviews they had given and, listening to the same thing over and over again. And then I realized that no, this is not working. I just, I forget everything and try to ask people questions that are related to what my avatar is interested in. And that's when, for example, I have an interview with Pat Flynn. And Pat Flynn always spoke about passive income and online business. And what we spoke about with him was how and when and why he wrote his very first Kindle book, which has never been covered before. So it's, in that case, it was easy because I knew I had found something that wasn't covered before. So it went well. But with other big names who have covered pretty much everything in their interviews, it's a big challenge to come up with something more original. So what I'm doing is I'm just, I'm trying to forget that it's on record and I'm recording something. I keep in mind that, that one person who is listening to the show and what he's interested in, and I just try to have some content that will be there in the interview that they would pick up from. So that's all I'm doing. But it's very, these big names, it's very nice in terms of credibility, but also very challenging to come up with something.
I can imagine. I just want to acknowledge Gina Schreck, who's entered the room. Hi, Gina. Great to see you. Thanks for stopping in the room. But yeah, the angle that you seem to come at in your interviews has really been helpful for me, because it lets you see that these people that you imagine are superheroes because they've written like 8 or 10 books and they're internet famous and they go around on these speaking tours, like Gina Schreck, are actually real people who struggle at getting these words out, and that they have to set the same schedules that we do in our writing to make sure that we continue to practice our writing habit, and that we continue to get the words out, and that it doesn't come without practice and without setting yourself a schedule. And so that's important for people like me who aren't natural writers to know that, yes, we can actually do what somebody like Gina Schreck has done, and like Annie has done with the books that she's written. So it's inspiring to hear that, to know that we can get it out. Because when I started on this journey, I really wasn't sure. I started writing, but I didn't start writing with the mindset that this was definitely going to happen. I was doing it to see maybe this could happen. What's the worst could happen? I could end up with a long blog post that I could share.
Or many blog posts you could chop it up and end up with. No, I mean, it's kind of, after interviewing more than 100 authors, I realized that, all of them have been in our shoes. All of them started from the same point. So it's like, and all of them, even the ones who are already successful, all of them have these doubts. Whatever they write, they are never completely 100% satisfied with the results. They always think that they could do better. So it's kind of, it's a never-ending process. You just go through that one step at a time. And I mean, me too. I'm having this period of trying to come up with did I freeze here? Can you hear me? Okay. Trying to come up with this idea of a new book, and I can't find it. So I'm like, I'm going around panicking, like, no, I don't have any ideas. I want to start writing a new book and I don't have any ideas. And then I'm having the other authors saying, relax, we've been there. It's okay. You'll come. Don't force it. It's okay. So it happens. It's natural.
Marcus had a question. What's the subject matter of my book? Marcus, I teach social media to college students in addition to doing a lot of other things. And I'm working with a university business school in Raleigh, North Carolina, where I may be teaching a business school course on social media and communications. And this is going to be a textbook for that course. And although it is a textbook, I'm trying to write it in a way that anybody who works in social media can refer to this book to get some insights on why we're doing what we're doing, and then some how-tos in terms of how to develop a content plan, how to develop a calendar, how to do the role. Each role in a social media job, right, is going to have a series of common tasks that they perform, and I try to address as many of those as I can in this book to give students and readers an idea of what people do, what in these jobs that are so new and didn't exist 5-10 years ago. What do these people do, and how do they do their jobs? And for new people getting hired into these jobs, I hope this will be a book that companies will use to get these new employees onboarded. You can. I don't think I have an outline about the book yet, but you can register on my website to get notified when I start publishing updates from pieces of the book before it's published. And my website is jedrecord.com.
Fantastic. Great. Thank you so much. All the tips and interactions are absolutely fantastic today. Guys, I'm afraid I'm going to have to leave this very shortly. I'm on half term as well. I've got two girls who've been incredibly patient, but I've got to go in about 5 minutes. Before I do, I just really wanted to say a huge thank you to Jed, to Annie, to everybody else who's really contributed to this blog. By all means, guys, carry on. I'm sure Damien will be back very shortly. I know he's having the same challenges as me at half term at the moment. Before, I just wanted to very quickly mention just a bit of a shout out really to Marcus, who I know is still on here. He did mention earlier in the comments, and I just wanted to mention that Homeworkers Network is running tomorrow at 2 p.m. UK time. And obviously we're talking about networking, no worries, Marcus. And obviously it's focused on homeworkers, and it's all about becoming more magnetic with followers. So Marcus, if you want to put in the comments just how people can find that. on Twitter, on here, on Facebook. If you want to just put that in the comments, and if people want to connect in with that, any home workers, and hopefully it'll be helpful. So thank you to everyone who's been in today. I hope you found my share helpful. I'm going to have to go now, unfortunately, but thanks ever so much.
Thank you, Fran.
All right.
Yeah, thank you very much, Fran. I really enjoyed meeting you.
No worries. You too.
Same
Thanks.
here.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Well, that was a fantastic discussion. I appreciate all that you shared, Annie. That was great.
Yeah. So a question.
We talked about Marcus's show coming up, and I feel bad not mentioning because Media Chat, which is a Twitter chat that has started doing some blabs here, has been super nice in inviting me to come talk at their chat. So if you're into Twitter chats, look for Media Chat tomorrow. I believe it's 10 p.m. Eastern time. So that would be in the morning for you, Annie. And for the people in the UK, I'm afraid that might be in the middle of the night or 5 a.m. or I don't know what time it is going to be there.
I'll probably be up.
So look for Media Chat tomorrow, 10 p.m. Eastern time, and we may be on a blab too. They haven't given me the details on that, so yeah, give them a shout out.
Yeah, that's really cool. I've noticed that there's quite a few people that I've got #hours on Twitter that kind of testing blab as well, just maybe after their hashtag or during as well, just to see if they can get more engagement, really.
Yeah, I think Brian Fanzo was a real leader in doing that, in taking some of his Twitter chats, which are really big, to blab, and he's got a community manager in Kristen Cardos who's really helpful in being able to coordinate that. I think it's difficult to run two platforms at once, but they've been able to do a good job with a couple of his chats. So I like the format, but I do find myself not participating in as many Twitter chats now and moving towards blab. I don't know what that means in mass, but it's an interesting dynamic going on right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's sometimes you get such unexpected results out of blab. I mean, yesterday it wasn't recorded though, but yesterday I started a blab with the topic how to get attention on blab or something like that. Mm-hmm. And it ended up, like, after more than 2 hours of blabbing, we had someone who was a coach and was working on mindsets and stuff like that. So we ended up talking about my phobia, actually. And he was like, with all these 17 to 25 people in there watching, we were actually kind of, he was actually kind of, I felt like, I should lie on the couch because it was like a shrink session. And he was healing me out of the phobia. And I'm like, I'm talking to this person and I'm like thinking, who would have thought, what's going on? It wasn't planned at all. But it was amazing because I came up with such a new insights. Like, I've been digging inside myself for so long to get the answers I wasn't able to, and then boom, out of nowhere, completely unplanned. But yeah, that's how it works.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's fun though. It's interesting how that works.
Yeah, I mean, and I was kind of thinking about the developments of all this because, like, I mean, I would never get on camera, first of all, and second, many listeners actually emailed me and asked me why is that, but I'm kind of, I'm very cautious about my personal stuff, and I'm never really kind of, sharing my personal life unless the experience is related to the message I want to share related to writing. So, and taking into account all that background, I mean, me talking on Blab about my phobias was like, completely surreal.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting.
yeah, so you never know.
So he just started kind of like, I don't know, coaching you or
Well, I mean,
guess
I
more
don't
like
even
being a
know what it's
therapist.
called. I don't even
Uh-huh.
know what it's called. Is it like coaching or
No,
doing a
it's
therapy? Or,
Therapy, yeah.
I
Lab
can't even
therapy.
describe what it was. But I mean, we were talking about phobias, and I said that I have a phobia of water. I'm afraid of water. And then after digging and digging and digging and asking questions which seemed unrelated in the very beginning, we ended up realizing that it's not, I'm not afraid of water. I'm afraid of losing control, and and that's the thing. And then looking back, I realized that yes, I mean, I've always been avoiding situations when things are not under my control. So I always want to prevent that. And since I can't swim, being in the water apparently puts me like in a vulnerable situation, and I don't have the control out of it. So it's not really the water thing, but it's actually much deeper. And we digged so much that I even realized when it came from, where it came from and which event actually triggers that. So it was amazing.
Well, I won't ask you to get into that again, but that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very interesting because I mean you didn't expect it even. I mean, we were talking about overcoming fear in general, so it wasn't really about me. But then, things started rolling and we ended up with completely different results. So, yeah, and you never know how it works. Do we have any other? We have so many questions here, guys.
Do we have questions? I've been commenting, but I haven't seen.
What would you say was the secret to getting Pat Flynn on your podcast, and ultimately, why was he interested in you? Oh, okay. Well, yeah, that's a good example of, I'm sure many of you have heard about just being helpful and providing value and doing things without having a back agenda and, just being a nice person. So when Pat Flynn was writing his very first book and was planning to publish it on Kindle, he created a group which is called Pat Flynn's First Kindle Book on Facebook. And so we were part of that group from day one when it was created, and I was kind of, since I was already in the sphere and I already had published 3 books already. I mean, I was answering to questions, and he kind of noticed me there because I was providing value. So he got back to me asking if I would like to become one of the admins of that group. And I said yes. So I've been helping out with the group for several months, and I wasn't even thinking about launching a podcast back then. It wasn't in my plans. I mean, it was like the last thing I would do. I had never thought I could do that. So eventually, when I did, we already had kind of, back and forth communication with him, and he already knew me. So I just asked when. And the funny thing was that his only available time was at 3 a.m. my time. So so I had to say yes. And I had this dilemma whether I should stay awake or sleep and then wake up, but then my voice would be sleepy and stuff like that. So I stayed awake, at that until we finished the interview. It was like already 4:30 a.m. my time. So, but yeah, I mean, it's just, you never know. Just, by being yourself and by helping people out, you never know what will come up to you. So it was, I was really kind of surprised to see him PMing me on Facebook and asking for favor. But that was like Pat Flynn. There are different stories with each person out there. But Pat Flynn specifically, that's what it was. Just, providing value and being helpful.
Yeah.
So that's what can come out of engaging with these people and not being you weren't outwardly engaging with Pat, right? You were engaging with the community, right?
Yeah.
So that's why it pays to spend the time to give
but
back.
If you are having a hidden agenda, and if you are in a group in order to self-promote, or if you are reaching out to these big names in order to ask for something, they can feel it. So it's kind of, it's not really, when you're asking for an interview, they have to understand, like, why should they, they have this big choice of spending that 1 hour with your show or someone else's show, or with their family, or doing something else around their project. So the key is, why should they pick you? Because you're in a competition, and you're not only in competition with other podcasters who are asking for that 1 hour interview, you are in competition with anything else that will take them 1 hour to do. So it's just, you have to realize, why should one person kind of, say yes to you? And when I was just starting, I didn't have an audience in place, zero. No one knew me. I was in a country where no one was podcasting, and still isn't. I'm the only one here. And I'm not a very techy person, so I wasn't really very familiar with all this, how to make a WordPress website, how to, make a podcast, and how to edit an audio file, etc. But even then, when I was just starting, I had few relatively bigger names, and I guess it's not really the number of. If they decide based on how big your audience is, most probably you won't end up with a really nice conversation, because they are there just to put themselves in front of a newer audience. So they are there for the numbers, not really for the conversation. So it's just a matter of, I guess, a little bit of personality as well, in terms of how you approach them, and how, I try to make at least a small relationship, or at least something, before I go ahead. So usually I'm not inclined doing cold calls and cold emails just out of the blue and saying, okay, I'm this and this person, why don't you give me an interview? Because most probably they won't. But if you have already engaged with them on Blab or on Twitter or on Facebook, if this person has spoken to you before already, then it will be more difficult for him to say no. Or if he's receiving a similar email from you and someone else, then most probably he'll tell yes to you if he has only that 1 hour to dedicate.
Yeah, good point.
That's really good. It's a really good way of kind of approaching people, kind of giving lots of value, if you like. And obviously kind of standing out there.
The best part of what she said, I think, came at the very beginning, and people might have missed it, but she had nothing to lose but to ask. What are they going to say?
Yeah.
Right? No.
Yeah.
That's all they're going to say, right?
Well, either no, or they just don't reply. That's the worst case scenario.
Yeah. So
don't be scared of the no.
But make sure you're not getting them. So again, another point I heard her mention that stuck out to me is you've got to give them enough value and interest to participate with you that's going to beat out other things they could have planned for that hour. So think of somebody who's being productive throughout the day, and you want to steal an hour from their day. Make sure you're not doing that just so that you can hype up, oh, I got to interview so-and-so, that you actually have put some background into researching this person. You have an angle, like you mentioned at the beginning, Annie. Everybody's going to ask the same questions, and so most likely they're going to say, look, I've already done this interview many, many times. It's on YouTube. It's on the web. There's no new value there. So if you have the right angle that you've done and you've researched and done your homework, that's an important piece of what you're doing when you're going after these interviews. And if you haven't done your homework and you don't have an angle, don't bother asking, because you're probably not going to get a yes. So do those things
the same goes for anyone who wants to be interviewed on a podcast. Let's say it's the same thing. I mean, I'm receiving emails sometimes saying that I want to come to your podcast to talk about my new book. And I mean, the first thing I'm thinking about is like, yeah, but I'm not an advertising agency. I mean, it's not really a podcast advertising books. And I've never heard about you. Why should I want to kind of, dedicate a whole show about your book? If, I don't even know if your book is good enough, at least. So, what most of the podcasters care, at least what they should care about, is their audience. So just, write me, why should my audience be interested in your story? I mean, if you are a writer especially, you should be able to put at least the one short story in an email. Tell me the story, tell me your story or your book story, tell me something so I can be able to evaluate how we can link that to the listener's interests, or because very often I receive emails which are about something which at first sight doesn't really relate to writing at all, and then I kind of go back and realize that, oh yeah, but this story is interesting in some respects, so if we approach it from that angle, then we may come up with something that may interest the writers eventually. So it's all about, it's not like, don't write them what you want, write them what they get from it. And then you get a bigger chance to be invited to their show, because it's not like, they believe me. I mean, if I was advertising people's books, I wouldn't have any problem finding those people, but it's not like I'm about that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really good.
All right, folks. Well, I've had a fantastic time here, Damien. I appreciate you inviting me to hop on. Annie, loved and enjoyed talking with you again, as always.
Thanks.
I've got some meetings coming up. I promised myself I'd get off at 10, which was about 16 minutes ago. So, as usual, blab time seems to kind of stretch out beyond what you expect. But thank you so much, and thank you to all the people with the nice comments in the comments. And I will see you guys later on today.
Thanks so much, Jed.
I'll be back on the blab.
Thanks, Jed. All right, take care.
Take care.
Thanks, Annie. Thanks for coming in as well.
Thank you.
I mean, I was hoping that it was going to be like an hour, but you just never know with the blabs. But
I spoke too much. You should have. I mean, you should tell in advance how long you want the blab to be, so we can fit into the timing. Because I didn't know you had a deadline, and I tried to talk too much. So.
Yeah, I'm just no, it's fine. It's been really good, and thanks for coming on and telling us kind of your story and how you help people as well, really.
Yeah, I hope I didn't hijack your show. I didn't.
No, not at all. No. It's the thing is, obviously, this is my, I think, second official blab kind of thing. So I'm just, getting into it, trying to host a few blabs, and just seeing if I can get lots of interaction going on. And it's been perfect again today of just showing that. We've had 119 people in here. And obviously there's 14 still in here, so it's been really good to listen and speak to other people.
Yeah, it's the interaction is and the engagement rate is higher than anywhere else that I've seen. Yeah. So in that respect,
it's fantastic.
It's the best place.
Exactly, it's almost like people come in because it's new and stuff like that, but they want to share their knowledge and give their value out, no matter what they're doing on the day, or they just kind of, I've got to go in on that and see what people are saying. So
I'm being strict with my blabs these days because I'm just I'm getting on a blab to see what's happening only when I've done what I'm supposed to do, because otherwise it's kind of it's like a black hole. You just get into that.
Definitely,
and you spend hours there. So I mean, it's afternoon with you, right? It's 3:18.
Yeah, it's just after 2:15 now in the afternoon here in the UK. And I mean, I resonate there with you. And I've kind of been trying to get my work done, especially with kind of juggling half term with the children at the minute, which are at home with me at the minute. But so kind of juggling everything, and obviously going on blabs on an evening as well. So I'm not really going to bed till about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, but I'm kind of used to that. And I just like the fact that I can work at any point at the time of the day, really.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I mean, maybe with the time people will start watching the replays more, because now they're more about the live watching. And I understand, because it's a completely different experience. I mean, I personally don't watch the replays very often either, unless it's like a very kind of specific person or specific topic I really want to cover. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously you've hosted your blab, that you can actually put that on your website or through YouTube as well. So I think just recently blab you can actually embed your blab onto your actual website, can't you, as well? So.
Yeah, and you can have it live on your website. Actually, people can watch it live from your website, and the chat works on the website as well, which is cool.
Right, cool. Because I think I added some of the I did embed that through my website just last night, just to try it out. But obviously I've been hosting this, so I'm not too sure if it's worked. But it's there to be tested, and it's all good. It's really good stuff. A lot of people giving value, and just being here for people, it's a good thing. So thanks very much, Annie, for being here.
Yeah, thank you. Keep doing blabs.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and let's hopefully get together and see if we can do something together at some point, if that's all right with you.
Sure,
Annie?
sure. Yeah, I'm like in the middle of launching an online course about blab right now. Like the launch is on the 1st, so I'm like a little bit overwhelmed with that specific task. But once it's done, then I will have more time. No problem.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, and share away if you want. If you've got the link ready, are you just working on that at the minute?
No, the link is ready, even while I'm working on it. No.
Yeah.
That's like what I learned from Pat Flynn and a few others is just go ahead, put the link, and start selling while you are making the thing. So don't lose the time.
Yeah, because to be honest, it'll probably never be perfect for yourself, if you know what I mean. But to others, it's something new, and they'll want to learn that straight away. So.
Well, the other thing is also the accountability. I mean, if I already have people who paid for it, I can't go back and give up and not deliver. So for me, it's like, I need that accountability, because, otherwise I may relax and forget and say, okay, no one needs it anyway. So if you have already people who pre-ordered it in advance, you know that they need it. So then you will have to deliver.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's good. Fantastic. All right. Okay, cool. I hope people have got that link and they can sign up for that.
Okay. Yeah. So thanks for having me.
Yeah. So let's. I'm going to wrap this blab up now and this end of the show. And thank you very much again, Annie, for coming in, and for everyone else that joined in. Thank you for your time and your value, and thanks for coming in at the side as well. It's been a really good blab.
Yeah, and amazing interactive chat. Thanks for that too.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Yeah. Okay. Thanks very much, Annie. All right. Take care. See ya. Bye.